Your grandma brought that over for you. Why, thank you, Grandmama. Welcome, fellow Kiss fans. Welcome to It's All For You Demon, celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan and waxing rock and roll nostalgia with a Great Dane named Large Marge in the Wax Night basement. Welcome to tonight's episode. Tonight, we are going to talk about the late 70s. And if you remember growing up in the late 70s, stores like Woolworths and Woolco and Kmart were amazingly fun stores. Bob Ross. You could not only get records, music at these stores, you could get action figures, markers, coloring books. Fun existed at these stores. Everything your little child heart desired was available to you in these variety stores. On the other hand, fun that your grandma picks up at this store may find its way to you at home. And that's the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is grandma magazines. The magazines your grandma bought at stores like Woolworths, Woolco, Kmart, because grandmas like to read. They're retired. They don't have a daily job to go to anymore. They wake up in the morning, they watch their programs, they watch The Price is Right, they read their magazines, they do their crossword puzzles. But what I like to believe, that in the late 1970s, if you were a Kiss fan, a child Kiss fan, and you had a grandma who read these grandma magazines, I would like to believe sometimes those magazines made their way to you. And one magazine that I like to believe made its way to a child Kiss fan, October 1st, 1979, People magazine cover story, Carol Burnett's daughters struggle with drugs, but for us, it would. Remember when magazines advertised things that weren't bad for you back then, but will kill you now? The good old days. For us, our focus would be on Peter and Lydia Criss. The article, Kiss and Split Up, is all about the major divorce. Rock stars divorcing their wives in their heyday. Catman Peter Criss ends Lydia's marital bliss with $1 million send-off. She says the only thing she regrets is not having a child with Peter, but at least she got that home. That home is amazing. That Connecticut home, on my list of places to find one day. But this home and this article and these pictures bring up a better point. Something I believe all good Kiss fans should own. And it is this. Sealed with a Kiss by Lydia Criss. If you love Kisstory, you need to own this. And I've said this before in previous vlogs. Just going to kind of repeat it here. If you love Kisstory, you really need to have this book. Kisstory is an amazing book. Probably the best Kiss book of all time. Kisstory 2, not so good in my opinion. What I think is a good substitute for Kisstory 2 is this. Nicholas Buckland's hottest brand in the land. Now, what I consider to be a Kisstory 3 is this. Sealed with a Kiss by Lydia Criss. These are the 3 greatest Kiss books any fan can own in their collection. To me, if you're a Kiss fan, you need to have all 3 of these. I bought this book many years ago. I can't actually remember when. I have the autographed edition, which comes with an autograph from Lydia Criss. A little personalization autograph there. Love, kisses, and Beth wishes. This book is absolutely amazing. I'm not going to flip through the entire thing, but I am going to show you some very, very cool photos. I mean, there is just amazingly awesome stuff in this book. I cannot tell you how cool this book is, and it's really laid out a lot like History. Early days. Peter Criss goes into their first apartment together, going on vacation. Peter in his John Lennon phase. Their wedding, that's the picture from the People magazine. They took a trip to London. This is a copy of Let It Be that Peter purchased in London. Even seeing cool stuff like that, that is pretty amazing. I'm a huge vintage fan, so I love seeing stuff like this. Their apartment, Christmas decorations, Christmas tree, Christmas Eve. I love that. Look at that old 70s bar. So much fun. There is so much fun to be had in this book. And then you get into the era of Kiss. Check out this rare Casablanca t-shirt. Yeah, Gene in drag there. Gene showing off a little butt cheeks. Some cool photos. You know, Lydia traveled with them quite extensively in the early days. That famous photo of Gene and Alice Cooper. There's Peter, Lydia, and the star of The Fugitive. Paul and Peter outside Tower Records. The guys all hanging out at a pool on tour. Living the rock and roll dream life. She must have saved all these matchbooks from back then. She's got matchbooks throughout this entire book. But it's pretty cool because you can start to see when the success rolls in and when the money starts to come in. And, you know, things change. Bigger vacations. More exotic places. Super cool photos that normally no one got to see back then. And we get a glimpse of today. Some very cool Christmas cards around 76. There's one from Gene, and this is the one that Lydia and Peter gave out. And here's Peter doing a little Silence of the Lambs. This is when the band went to Japan. There is Lydia, Bill Aucoin, Jeanette, Sean Delaney. I love this jacket. And Jeanette is super hot right here. I always loved that picture of her right here. Ace had a good looking wife there. And here is a shot of Lydia Criss in the buff with a cat. She wasn't bad looking either. Peter and Ace did pretty good for themselves. I'm sure Gene and Paul were scoring by the billions, but for these guys, married life wasn't that bad at all. Some shots of dress rehearsal, 1977. Outfits, but no makeup. That's pretty fun. And this is one of my favorite sections of the book. This is their house in Connecticut. That, to me, is just amazing. I love old houses like this, and especially houses on land where you're kind of just away from the neighbors. And this is Peter and Lydia having fun doing photo shoots around their land. It's their sheepdog they had. Peter with his guns and bandoleros. If you remember in Tom Snyder, he said he loved to play gangster. And it's quite evident in these photos. He enjoyed those guns, but it's a shame he couldn't cop to that and True Confession Time really tell the real tale. But at the time, 1979, Tom Snyder, there would have been a lot of kids watching, and you don't want kids playing with guns. So more photos, sheepdog, guns, just having a blast. They're finally living the life of their dreams, and it's very evident in all these pictures of the home. A little shot of the gold and platinum wall inside their house, but I do absolutely love this. Check this out. A gold 8-track for Alive. How fun is that? And where is that today? Oh, pardon me. Probably at John Five's house. Now, I do believe John Five does own this. This is the Monopoly board made out of glass that Bill Aucoin had made for the band. So there was only 4 of them, and I do believe John Five owns Peter's now. Maybe Ace's, but I do believe it's Peter's. John Five actually owns that. How awesome is that? And the only way you could tell whose member board it is, each board had the member's makeup on it somewhere. And I believe it was the get out of jail piece. Could be totally wrong. But one of the board pieces actually had their icon makeup. That right there is magic. And lastly, one of my favorite pages. This is another shot of Peter on vacation with Lydia, having the time of their life. I want to say, I could be wrong, I want to say they are at Vincent Price's house here. But this photo right here, Peter is reading the script for Phantom of the Park. That warms my heart like you would not believe. The history right there in that photo. Everything that I think is fun about Kiss is wrapped up in Phantom of the Park, and there is Peter reading the script before anyone knew what Phantom of the Park was. That's awesome. And I've always thought this photo was a telltale of worlds splitting apart. Peter with his cigarette has that disinterested look on his face, probably both with the band and her. I can't imagine having your wife on tour would be the most fun thing, but I also can't imagine being on tour all the time and just the toll it takes on your life. I think becoming a rock superstar is everyone's dream come true and everyone's nightmare come true at the same time. Your world is completely turned upside down, and you either roll with it and live it, or it destroys you. I think we've seen that with every rock and roll band ever, and it took its toll on Kiss in the late 70s for sure. And towards the end of the book, she does get some very cool photos of the Dynasty Tour, which would have been her last hurrah with the band. And then, of course, towards the very end, we see the divorce and mention of said People magazine, which is why I hunted this down and picked it up. I love every photo in this book, and I highly recommend it to you if you are a fan of, like I said, history, or just a fan of diving into a book and staring at photos of historical moments in time. Not necessarily what was taking place in the photo is historical, but just like a historical era. If you want to see, behind the machine shots, 1976, 1977, this is a great book because, honestly, it didn't have the Paul Stanley filter on it. It wasn't Kiss condoned. I think Kiss hides a lot of stuff from us at times, which is cool. It's their prerogative. It's a business. This is all Lydia. She can do whatever she wants, and man, this is a great insight into their relationship, into her passion for photography, and into a world we've never seen. of Kiss. Thank you for hanging with me tonight. Thank you for waxing Grandma Magazines and Sealed with a Kiss by Lydia Criss. Speaking of Grandma Magazines, stores like Woolworths, Woolco, Kmart, what are some of the items that you either bought or your parents bought for you or your grandma bought for you from those stores that were Kiss related? I don't care what it is, album, comic book, jigsaw puzzle, what was it? Let's celebrate the fun of being a Kiss fan. Down in the comments, leave me a comment. What pop culture fun did you get from the 5 and dime stores? Woolworths, Woolco, TGNY, Kmart. What Kiss pop culture fun did you get from those stores back in the late 70s? Leave me those comments below. We will celebrate the fun of being a Kiss fan. Would like to be a pen pal with me? Details below. Talking Kiss isn't only for the internet. We can talk Kiss via the United States Postal Service. Pen pal me? Details below. And don't forget, everyone was asleep. And don't forget, be good to your animals. Spay, neuter, microchip. Thank you for hanging with me. Take care. Be safe. We'll talk to you soon. And she's going to fall asleep right there. Take care.